Hey everyone, it's Kong again with another episode of Should You Summon. As always, I'm going to be presenting high-level overviews to help you decide whether this banner is worth your hard-earned vouchers and crystals. And this week we've got a Destiny banner featuring the Knight of Mystery, the Archon of the Moon, and Virash, running from October 27th to November 9th. That's right, we've got 2 Virash here, and as a Destiny banner, the first SSR you pull is guaranteed to be one of these 3 units that you don't already have. Once you pop that Destiny guarantee though, the banner is treated like a normal raid up from then on, meaning you'll have a 20% chance to get any off-banner character in the regular summoning pool. Alright, let's get started with the Knight of Mystery. She's a highly mobile magical DPS who gets a damage boost for each space moved, with an added mechanic that resets all your cooldowns after you move a certain number of cumulative spaces. Her 3-cost skill is a 3-line, 5-range AoE attack that disables enemy headgear effects, and converts a random buff into a debuff. Her unique weapon makes it so she doesn't suffer from terrain penalties, and it also adds an additional shot of fixed damage to enemies before you damage them. She's a member of Yeless Legends, buffed by Landius and Sigma, and Strategic Masters, buffed by Ultimuller and Lanford. For bonds, she unlocks the defensive bonds for Oliver, Ilusha, and the Sage of the Trees, and for her own bonds, she needs Lanford for her defensive bond, and the normal Landius for her attack bond. For content in PvE, she's on faction for Phoenix, Sleipnir, and Needhog, and she's a general-purpose high-mobility unit with a single-target attack that gives some self-healing, and some AoE options as well, so she should be pretty good right out of the box for general PvE content. In PvP, her main strength is her mobility and her big skills, which can help zone enemy teams and punish sloppy positioning. There are definitely scarier AoE rush threats these days, with more on the horizon, but that's basically what she does. Next up, we've got the original Virash. Virash is a gimmicky physical DPS who can revive several times, but it's on a turn limit, so after his first death, the rest of his revives can just be stalled out. His unique armor gives him a random buff whenever he revives, and his 3C gives him immunity to fixed damage when he engages after reviving, as well as a strong physical single-target attack. He's a member of Yeless Legends, buffed by Landius and Sigma, and Meteor Strike, buffed by Zerida and Epsilon. For bonds, he unlocks the defensive bond for Brenda, and the attack bond for Helena, which is currently the most compelling reason to summon him. For his own bonds, he needs Lambda for his defensive bond and Rainforce for his attack bond. For content, he's on faction for Scylla and Phoenix in the Eternal Temple, and he's not really a meta choice in any Ancient Beckoning battles. Finally, we have the Archon of the Moon, which is the newer and slightly better Virash. He's also an aquatic unit who, of course, gets stat bonuses when he's in water. If he successfully displaces someone, he gets 2 turns worth of water terrain and boosted mobility, and he gets a chance to act again. His 3-cost skill grabs a target up to 3 spaces away and pulls them next to him, reduces their mobility, and then switches into a single target attack, so he has a built-in wombo combo. He also has a passive revive skill that recovers more HP if he revives in water. He's a member of Yeless Legends, buffed by Landius and Sigma, Strategic Masters, buffed by Ultimuller and Lanford, and Mythical Realm, buffed by Gizaroth and the Sage of the Trees. For bonds, he unlocks the defensive bond for Azusa and the upcoming new mage Annie. For his own bonds, he needs Brenda for his defensive bond and Werner for his attack bond. For content in PvE, he's on faction for Phoenix in the Eternal Temple, and Needhog, Fenrir, and Sleipnir in Ancient Beckoning. On faction, but not really a meta choice. In PvP, he's most appealing as part of teams that can actually, displace foes. As such, he really wants you to ban Hilda, or kill her, I guess. Either way, that anti-displacement aura means he can never get his talent buff or act again, which really hinders his effectiveness. Ironblood Commander's defensive formation also prevents displacement, and Christiane's upcoming exclusive helm also makes her immune to displacement. And there's been a proliferation of electric headwear, which also prevents displacement, so bad timing for the Archon. I guess that's our cue to move on to the notes for noobs. So the Knight of Mystery is a good unit, but she's not exactly essential for newer players. I definitely wouldn't summon specifically for her unless she's your guarantee. Virash at this point is just for Brendo and Heleno bonds. And the Archon of the Moon is good for PvP, but his use cases are becoming more and more limited. A lot of the people who built him when he first launched have already dropped him, and it's not like there's a shortage of great units ready to take his place, especially right now. Finally, we'll close with my reminder about upcoming banners. This is the last week of this enshortened major update cycle. That means next week should be the highly anticipated Gintama crossover featuring 2 powerful new units in Gintoki and Kagura. Don't get complacent though. The major update after the collab is just as important and features the new meta tank Lightbringer and a powerful new mage Annie. Don't get complacent though. The major update after that is the 4.0 Anniversary Edition with the launch of the ridiculous new Zerida. So it's crunch time for our hard-earned vouchers and crystals, and maybe our wallets. Easy skip for me this week anyway. Thank you so much for watching, I wish you all the best of luck, and I'll catch you in the next Should You Summon. Extra special thanks of course to our Langrisser tier channel members for generously supporting the channel directly. Shout out to Levitt, Derek, Kate Soon, Jared Portela, Jerome Meyer, Shara Ilaimirius, and Harambe. Thanks everyone.